Hello to you, friends. This is Dhamma on Air, number 35. There are 5 questions, and it's recorded on the 10th September 2016. We're going out a little bit in the forest here to change the backdrop setting. But first a normal intro. Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Worthy, honorable, and perfectly self-enlightened was the blessed Buddha. All the 5 questions today spins around the concept of kamma or karma. Kamma is a Pali word and karma is a Sanskrit word. Both words means action. So it's the action that is the karma. It's not the result of action. Result of action, which is normally what Westerners call karma, is called vipaka or phala. Vipaka means effect or result, and phala means fruit. The fruit of the action, or the result of the action. But kamma or karma is the action itself. Actually, it is the intention behind the action that is the karma. The Buddha specifically says so. I'll first give an explanation from a modern context of what karma is and how it works. And then we'll take the questions, and then we will read out aloud the Buddha, what he said on karma. Let him speak for himself. So karma is the intention. Let's go back into wave mechanics, and because it has some quantum mechanical explanation. If this were a mobile phone, it's not a mobile phone, but nevertheless, if it were, then you can say the local aspect was here. Then it sends out radiation on a specific frequency, 4.1 megahertz, for example, and this goes all over the world. This will reach the other side of the planet Earth in 100 milliseconds, that is 0.1 second, and reach the surface on the sun after 8 minutes. So if the mobile phone has been turned on for more than 8 minutes, then it's an extension of the mobile phone, the effect of the mobile phone, namely the radiation, invisible electromagnetic radiation. This is in a sphere around the Earth going to the extension of the surface of the sun. So thereby the mobile phone is very non-local. The visible aspect of the mobile phone is here, but the invisible radiation aspect that makes the mobile phone works as a mobile phone, it is more or less everywhere from here to the sun. So it's very non-local. So you can say the information is a transceiver, a mobile phone. So it can both receive electromagnetic radiation and information by that way, and it can send out. So it's a transceiver. The same thing about this one. This one is sending out electromagnetic radiation. What is electromagnetic radiation? It's actually a two-wave phenomena. There's 2 waves. There's an electric wave that induces a magnetic wave. And they goes in 2 different planes. I will put a small illustration here of the electromagnetic wave inducing the orthogonal magnetic wave. Same thing about this guy up here, the brain, which is also a receiver. It works on an antenna and a sender. It sent out another kind of radiation that is not really well understood yet, but also has 2 components. One is consciousness and the other one is probability. And this probability sends out only if the mind that sends out has some intentional activity. Same thing about a mobile phone. The mobile phone only sends out signals to where it is, to the mast, and then it shuts up. Only if you call someone, then it will send out information. Same thing with this one. Only if there's intentional action present, then there will be sent out consciousness. And thereby also, because of this is a 2-wave system, thereby also probability. This probability echoes back. Just like an echo, if you shout out in a valley, then there will come several echoes back. So also if you send out probabilities, there will come probability back. Probabilities interfere with each other, like all other waves, they interfere with each other. If you have waves of several frequencies, then what comes out of it, the resulting is a wave packet. A wave packet made of probability is an event. It's a happening. It's a state. Since it is so that these centers have their individual frequency, so they will only receive echoes of probabilities on a specific frequency, namely the same frequency that they themselves have sent out. And this means that I can only receive my probabilities, and you can only receive your probabilities. But we are going around in the same space-time, where all these echoes of specific frequencies are present. Just as like this mobile phone, imaginary mobile phone, it can receive a lot of frequencies, and the information density can be enormous. It actually can be infinite. Because if we have mobile phone here, 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 wherever, it works. This means also that this point of my finger, there go, just as this point, and I can make this point as small as I want, infinitesimally small. There goes, passes through all internet information, all radio communication from aeroplanes, ships, and so on. And it's enormous information density packed in a very small point. So you can, since you can make this, have the same amount of information, and you can pack the point to infinitely small, then the information density is infinitely large in each point in space-time. So also with the information that is not carried by electromagnetic radiation, but by this another wave phenomena, not really determined yet, but in quantum mechanics, one part of it, namely only the probability part of it, is called the wave function. And the wave function has been experimentally verified in numerous experiments since the 30s with extreme accuracy, out to the 10 decimals. It's even frighteningly accurate. You can say something like it's 99.999999999% accurate. So it's extremely accurate. Extremely accurate. So it says something about nature, how nature works. This has been delineated, though there's discussion about whether this wave function is real and whether probabilities are real. But they say something about what will happen in the future. Not in the sequence what will happen, but if you look over many events, what distribution of events there will be. That's how it works. So basically it's an echo. The karmic echo is an echo of probability that one has sent out oneself, and which is continuously modified. So what you meet in each time point is actions you did for many lives ago, many universes ago, and what you did when you were a kid, and what you did yesterday. They all have formed probability waves. These probability waves are added up because probabilities are additive. And then they will determine whether you feel pleasure or pain, whether you have success or failure, whether you will choose this or that, like this or that, if you're on autopilot. If the mind is not aware of what it's doing, it's just doing automatically. If mindfulness is not established, then it works like that. So the conditioning can be of various degrees. Let's say there's 80% conditioning from the past. Then 8 out of 10 times, and 4 out of 5 times, you would do whatever the conditioning tells you to do. And then there's a free choice for the last 20%. If it's 50-50, then if you make 10 actions, then the 5 of them will be the same what your karmic conditioning tells you to do without you being aware of it. And then the 5 other will be a free choice. It will be kind of like random, whatever your mental defilements tells you to do at that particular moment. So it's very rarely that you have some cases where the karmic conditioning from the past is 100%. And that is what we call destiny. So there are few events in the future that can be be predicted with 100% certainty, but there are very few events compared of how many events are in a human being's life. An event in Dhamma, in Buddhism, is called one Dhamma, and this is probably one Planck moment. So it means that it's probably 1 to the 10 to the minus 43 seconds. So this means that there are these events or Dhammas, they are more than 5 times 100,000 times billion per second. So it's very, very fast. But this also means that the probabilities are very small, but also that a fairly large part of the outcome space is washed over in each second, because there's so many events. And this means that probabilities that are in this distribution out there everywhere present, they will come to determine not the event, which sequence the event have come, but how many of given events, how many moments you will feel pleasure, how many moments you will feel pain, how many moments you will feel neutral feeling, how many moments you will have success, how many moments you will have failure, how many moments you will have neither success nor failure, and so forth. So this goes for all moments in life, and this goes also for a particular crucial moment of the rebirth moment, where one gets a new form, where consciousness jumps from one form and to the next form, the next body, the next rupa. So this is how it works. It's like a resonance phenomena. Resonance is, you know, when you have two guitars in the same room and you plug the middle string on one guitar, then the other string, the middle string on the other guitar will also start vibrating. So it means that the resonance is that waves in one physical system induces waves in another physical system that is tuned to the same frequency. So that is the middle string on the one guitar induces vibration in the middle string on the other guitar, even though it's not plugged. Same thing is also a wave interference pattern with you. So we are going around in a resonance room, which for practical purposes is the entire universe. And wherever we go, we will meet this echo, because these undulations, these wave fields of probabilities are everywhere present. And as the Buddha say, they follow us like a shadow that never leaves. A shadow is something that is light is cast down, and then we absorb light, and then where we absorb light, then there becomes a shadow on the wall or on the ground. Same thing with the probabilities. We are walking around in a probability space where we will absorb some probabilities, and then we will experience and use up, exhaust up these probabilities of whatever that has been planted, what kind of egg, what kind of karma that has been planted in the past. So it's not only one event that is falling out, it is a summation of many events that is falling out in each moment. But still, as I say, it's a probabilistic effect. It's not 100%. In very rare cases, it's 100%. And in a very rare cases, it's 0%. You can also have in quantum mechanics, and this also goes for karma, you can have negative probabilities. This means that you can create probabilities that something will not happen. If you give something, for example, then you will have a positive probability in later in life or in the next life to become rich. And you will have negative probability to become poor and to lose everything. Vice versa, if you steal something, then you will have positive probability to become poor later in life or next in life, lose everything from fire or from theft or from whatever, and you will have a negative probability for becoming rich, to gain wealth. So we are wandering around each in the same space-time, but since consciousness is frequency specific, we are only experiencing as observers specific echoes that is tuned to our frequency, just like the guitar string. So we are tuned to one specific frequency. This follows us all samsara. And therefore we will meet all the echoes of probabilities that has this specific frequency, that is carried by a wave with this specific frequency. This is not so with the mobile phone. The mobile phone always have the same frequency for each carrier. Huh? So they send out at the same frequency, but not so with this one, the brain. It sends out on a specific individual frequency that does not change throughout samsara. So it is basically just a reflection or a mirror or an echo of probability, not an echo of light or an echo of or a reflected mirror of light, which is also a wave phenomena actually, electromagnetic radiation. It's not an echo of sound, it's an echo of probability. It's reflected probability. And the echo wall is so special because it's a universal quantum mechanical wave function that interferes with other waves. And this means that the systems are coupled, that you are not independent on other individuals. And they are dependent upon you, or you are dependent upon them. And the whole world is kind of like collective systems of these probabilities that are echoes back and forth because of standing waves, because it's a finite space that the waves are traveling back and forth. So it's a standing wave of probability. Another phenomenon of a standing wave of probability is the cosmic background radiation discovered in this century, in the last century, as a very low humming, kind of like 20 to 60 hertz, that you can hear if you are tuning in your long wave frequency below in this frequency spectrum. So it's very, very long waves, it's several 100 meter wavelengths. And this is the echo of the Big Bang. So since it's coming from everywhere, wherever you point your antenna, and this confused the researchers in the beginning, then you will see that there's coming this cosmic background radiation with the same intensity. Normally it will be so if you have an antenna and then you point it towards the center, then you will have a higher signal. Or if you point it directly away from the center, then you also have a higher signal. But this is not so the case with the cosmic background radiation, nor is it so with the radiation of Kamma, of probability. It is everywhere present with the same intensity. Same intensity. So it doesn't matter wherever you go, whether you do the action here or there, or whether you experience the result here or there, it doesn't matter. Locality doesn't make sense in this regard because it is everywhere present. It's omnipresent. So far, so good. So you can say we live in an echo valley, a karmic echo valley. It's the same valley for everybody, but we don't experience the same echoes. It's the same as you, for example, if you have a bass voice and you yell out deeply in an echo valley, then the echo that's coming back will have a low frequency, a low tone. Huh? It will be a bass echo. But if you have a high voice and you yell out in the high pitched tone in an echo valley, then there will come a high pitched tone back. So same also with the frequency we are sending out, the probabilities we are sending out with our consciousness. That's an inherent, immanent part, the orthogonal part of our consciousness. This probability is also frequency specific. So if it's sent out at a specific frequency, then it comes back with a specific frequency. When it comes back is determined by the phase relation between where you are in space-time and how long time that has since the echo has been sent out. So this is a tricky issue, but actually it comes back many times until it's finally exhausted. Kamma can be modified. So let's say you have a lot of minus Kamma, bad Kamma. Then if you do something good Kamma, then it will reduce the bad Kamma, and vice versa. If you have a lot of good Kamma and you do some naughty Kamma, then the good Kamma, the echo of the good Kamma goes down. So you subtract the good effects you have had. Since we don't know, we cannot see our past lives, of which there is innumerable, an endless row, then we have to follow some rules and just to make good Kamma now. And then so just be very patient with experiencing what comes from behind, so to speak, of the Kamma we don't know we have made. But everyone have been both good and evil. All cases, even bodhisattvas and Buddhas, if you look back in their past, it's a mixed Kamma. So there's good Kamma, neutral Kamma, and bad Kamma, evil Kamma, in all individuals' life. So it's not a case of pointing fingers. There's no reason to, because it will be hypocrisy. If you look back in whatever individual's life, you will see evil action, and good action, and neutral action. And so is it. Now it's a chance to learn what is good and what is bad, and not send out more echoes of the bad kind. And then send out a lot of good echoes of the good kind. So to neutralize the bad echoes that we already have sent out. And then in the final job is to silence all echoes. No, it doesn't make any echo. If there's no echo, then there'll be no rebirth. No rebirth, no aging, sickness, and death. This entails no suffering. So it's the ending of Kamma in that is the subject, and that is the goal of the Buddhist life. It's the ending of karma. First making good karma and then silencing all karma. Arahats, they don't make any karma. They don't form intention. They do action, but it's not intentional action. It's just action that is necessary. It's not something that they want to do. Okay, so far so good. I think this is sufficient for a do. But karma in the modern context is a field of probability. That is a part, individual part of the quantum mechanical wave function. It's modifiable and is modified now as we speak, both for you and for me and for everybody else that do intentional karma. And intentional karma can have 3 doors. It can come out the mind, it's mental karma, can come out the mouth, verbal karma, and it can come out the body. As you have any comment? As a physical karma, bodily karma. But let's say question 110. Is desire for an object caused by past karma or due to present mental defilements? So, if you have a desire for a particular object, is that a past karmic thing or is it present mental defilements? Actually both. These two are both expressions of the same thing, of habitual tendencies. So the habitual tendency in the past will form the present defilement that is now. You can just, as an example, try to analyze for yourself what make you make the choice you do. Why do you like this and not that? Why did you choose this or not that in a given time point in your life? Why do you like or dislike this or that? And that's a very difficult answer actually to a very difficult question to answer, because this conditioning is very subtle. It is usually subconscious. And this means usually that there's probabilities at work there, that there are karmic probabilities at work, and also present mental defilement. So if you've been a greedy nature in last life, there will also be greedy nature in this life. So greed is high prior life, so it causes habituation of either sexual misconduct or other kind of stealing or whatever can be connected with greed, and this will affect, will fall out as enhanced greed in the next life also. So there's many examples on that in the text. So there is a conditioning of the defilement of one's likes and dislikes. It's all patterns. But this doesn't mean that there's no personal freedom. Let's say you have 80% conditioning. Yeah, yes, but then you have still 20% personal freedom. But this 20% can only be utilized if one is aware of there is a choice. If one is aware of the moment. If one is unaware, then if we take 10 events, then the conditioning will fall out in 8 cases and you will have a free random choice in 2 cases out of 10. And 80% conditioning is fairly normal. But even if there's 99.9% conditioning, if it looks like destiny and it looks like it's completely determined, still there's a choice. But this choice is much harder. Subjectively, it's experienced as harder to take this choice, to find this choice, to find a way around the situation when the conditioning is pushing one in the back. It's in the moment of making the choice of listening now, or agreeing now, or liking now, or disliking now, or turning your attention to the other side, or giving up, or whatever, hanging on, is working in each moment. In each moment. And there one can say the conditioning is like one who's pushing one in the back to take a specific choice. Not necessarily an advantageous choice, just a specific choice that was karmically determined. If the action that determines in the past was under influence of either greed, hate, or ignorance, then one will make a choice that later will fall out as painful for oneself, either in the present moment or later on. Otherwise, if the karma in the back that is pushing one in the back was made under the intention of goodwill and generosity and friendliness and understanding, wise analytical understanding, then whatever one chooses to do without knowing it, without being aware of it, still this will fall out as success, as pleasure, either now in the present moment or later on. So it's a network of probabilities where time doesn't seem to be there that is working out. You cannot say that there's any event or any state or any particle in the universe that is independent upon the others. You cannot isolate any system, basically. All systems are affected by other systems because of the quantum mechanical effect called non-locality. So there's nothing that is independent, truly independent. Thereby, there's nothing that can be isolated from effects from outside. This is impossible. This is only an idea. This we thought in classical physics 100 years ago. Some still believe in it, that systems can be isolated. But this is because of not really understanding that there is total inseparability, that you cannot separate any system, any mental state, any physical state, internal, external, past, present, and future from the rest of the system. Is bound up, is dependent upon each other. Through this network of causality, through these waves of probabilities. So yes, the desire for a given object is caused by past karma, but this past karma is also working through present defilements, present mental defilement. Whether it's desire or jealousy or envy or generosity or whatever it can be, is working through the present mental characteristics, qualities there is now. Question number 111 goes like this. Can past karma stop the doing of good deeds? Is this why some cannot meditate? Yes, karma can stop one from doing good deeds. Again, only if one is unaware of it. There's a story of a little wayman and a big wayman. It was two brothers. They were called waymen because their mother was on the way home to her parents, and then she didn't reach their home, and then she gave birth to these two guys on the road, and they were called little wayman and big wayman. And big wayman they both entered the Sangha, became monks, and big wayman he quickly became an arahat. But little wayman, he couldn't remember one single word of the Dhamma. He couldn't recite one single stanza, one line of text. He couldn't remember. And so his brother was very displeased with him because it was embarrassing for him to have such a stupid little brother. So he says, Split, you cannot become a monk because you cannot remember even one line of text. So you cannot. And so he was sad crying outside. Then the Buddha saw him sad crying outside the monastery. And then he asked him why, and then he told why. And then the Buddha saw, he can become an arahat. Then he gave him a meditation object very cleverly, an object of cloth. Some cloth was lying on the street that was rotten. And then he should meditate on the impermanence of cloth while he came back. And then this made him an arahat. But why couldn't he remember anything? Yes, some lives back he had seen another monk. And then he was very clever, a very good reciter. He could recite all the text by heart without making mistakes. And then he laughed and criticized this other monk who had difficulties with remembering the text. And because this bad karma, he was kind of like an arrogant, very proud of his own abilities. So he scolded and ridiculed this other monk that had difficulties with remembering the text by heart. Because of this evil karma, because of this arrogance and pride, and I'm better and you are low and so on, then in this present life that fell out, he couldn't remember a single line of text. And this goes for all other abilities, both the positive way and the negative way. That you're born with the abilities. The karma is the womb that create beings. Beings are created, born, conditioned, restricted, formed, shaped, elevated, adorned by that karma. It's not a destiny. It is under continuous modification and it can be modified in each moment. But it's a probability that falls out and cannot be escaped in any way. It can be modified but not escaped. So this means that if one cannot meditate now, and if one cannot do any good things now, one should not use karma as an excuse to say, this is my bad karma, or one should just keep on trying doing it anyway, because eventually this bad karma will be exhausted. Another story that illustrates this was Angulimala. He was this serial killer that killed 999 persons in the Buddhist time, and then he became a monk. When he went Pindabat, because he was very known that it was him who had killed all these people, that he came to the families of those he have killed. Then they stoned him. They throw stone on him. So he came home every day with his bleeding from his head, because they beat him up with sticks and throw stones after him. They didn't kill him. And so the Buddha said, hang on, endure monk, endure at last. And eventually the effects subsided. And he helped a pregnant woman, actually, later on. And because he helped that pregnant woman with giving birth, his karma was exhausted. And then he became an arhat. So even though there is karma, it's not destiny. It's not the same as destiny. It's kind of like an accumulation of something that can be used up. And the more forceful you go against it, the more you use it up. If it's bad karma, endure it. The more good karma you do, the more bad karma will be evaporated or eradicated or modified until it cannot be felt. So it determines our life, the qualities of our life, how we look, how we speak, how we think, what we like, what we dislike, so to speak, from behind, like a shadow. Like now there's some light and shadows here playing in the forest, so also these probabilities are playing. So we are wandering around in this echo space, in this resonance room of probabilities that affects us if we are not aware of it. If we are aware of it, then we can step out of it, out of the conditioning, and then use whatever free will there's left from the conditioning. This can be hard, this can be easy, but it cannot be done if one is not aware of what is doing. It should be mind looking at mind. So when mind sees the anger, the karmic anger comes up, I see, there's anger coming up, so I should exchange with goodwill. When mind sees the greed coming up, now I want, I feel I need, and you should say, calm down, you don't need anything. If mind sees this ignorance, this confusion, this uncertainty, this doubt coming up, I see this doubt coming up, what should I do? I should examine, to make this doubt go away. So if mind is aware of what these echoes coming in, like waves of mental states, of moods, of tendencies, latent tendencies, to this or that, for this or that, against this or that, then it has a chance to counteract, to make a wise choice in each situation. But it's only if awareness, sati, is present. Sati, awareness, mindfulness. 35 minutes in. Is there any purpose of dedicating merit to the dead and the departed? Yes, there is actually. We have discussed this before. Why is that so? Because if the dead are departed 7 generations back or 7 generations forward in time, they have not died yet in your family, on both sides, both mother and father sides, will become hungry ghosts out of a special kind, one of 8 kinds. Then if you dedicate the merit to them, then they will be helped out of their situation. Either they will lose their ghost state and become a human or an animal or whatever, some other state. or they will get something to eat or get a better conditions where they are. It's only 1 out of 8 kinds, so 16% of the ghosts who can enjoy this family dedication merit. So there is a meaningful thing in dedicating the merit. And again, may I hereby dedicate the merit from all these Dhammas on airs to my Petras in my family 7 generations back and 7 generations forward. May they gain a fair share of joy and happiness and satisfaction from the merit I earned from teaching this Dhamma. And so you can do also. Since we can do that, this is also giving, this is also karma, so I don't lose anything. And you don't lose anything either. And since it's good to do, then we should do it. Out of compassion, out of pity, karuna. So, yes, there is purpose in dedicating merit. Normally, merit, which is this probability, frequency-specific probability, it cannot be shared. It cannot be given to somebody else. But the explanation in the commentaries is that when the Petras, they hear about that or see that themselves, that we're dedicating this merit, then they rejoice in that giving. And this is merit themselves. Before they have been very envious and stolen things and so on. That's why they are hungry ghosts now. But now they are rejoicing. And this is good merit. So they, from other people's karma, they create their own karma. And that's what that frees them. So they, from the merit I or you dedicate, they rejoice. And this rejoicing is karma, mental karma itself. And this is what affects themselves, their own destiny, their own future. Question 113. Is there a path we can follow to reduce our bad karma from past life? Yes, indeed, there is. And what is this path? This is the Noble Eightfold Way. A normal good doing will also do. Any good doing will do. But the short melody goes like this. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila means morality. Not to kill, not to steal, not to commit fraud. Not to have illicit sex with somebody else's partner, those underage or those imprisoned, or under protection of somebody else. And not to take intoxicants. Then give. Respect those who are worthy of respect. Do service for others. Then this is the way. But this is the rest of the Noble Eightfold Way is actually the way to eradicate bad karma, is making good karma. You can say negative karma will be reduced if you make positive karma, because these probabilities are additive, basically. Question 104, and then I think we'll go to what the Buddha said about karma. How does past life karma contribute to decide the events of our lives? Does karma decide the majority of things in our lives? Yeah, the karma is kind of like working on several, because it's probabilities that are connected, joint probabilities or probabilities in joint systems. Then they affect 2 places. They affect the individual's choice themselves. So you're standing on a street. There's a choice to walk out on the street and being run down by a bus or a truck, or stay and look to both sides. So this choice, whether you look to both sides or whether you step out in front of the bus, this is determined by a probability, a priori. If you've done a lot of killing, a lot of stealing, a lot of lying, and so on, then the probability for stepping out in front of the bus is high. And the probability for looking to both sides, analyzing the situation before making the choice to go out on the street is low. Vice versa, if you made a lot of hospitals, respected good people, help the Sangha, and so forth, make good actions, then the probability to step out in front of the bus is small, and the probability to stand and look is high. But one is not aware of this situation, these probabilities, at the moment the action passed by, the event passed by, there on the street. One is not aware of it. Nevertheless, it is effective. The probabilities are there. The probabilities are there. So in this way, so it affects the external system, the external world also. This, whether a bus will hit you or not, is also a probabilistic effect. Whether you step out and the bus misses you, you step out maybe because you're unaware and foolish or drunk or so on. But the bus just turns around in the last second and it doesn't hit you. Or it hits you, even though you stand on the street. So there's probabilities for everything. And all the systems are joint systems. Can it affect your majority of the events in our life? I would say yes. But it doesn't need to be so. It is only when you're on autopilot, when you're unaware of what you're doing, of what you're saying and what you're thinking. Then karma, the probabilities have a choice. They have a chance to fall out. Then there's no free will there. It's a system just cause and effect working out. They go so waving in and work their way. Whatever events they are computed to fall out as, then they will fall out as that. But if you step out of this cloud of probability by being aware, then it doesn't need to be so that the majority of events in your life is karmically mediated or conditioned. But some coloring or tainting or influence is difficult to exclude, I would say. And in 100% cases, in some cases it cannot be excluded. Mahamogayana, the left-hand disciple of the Buddha, has killed his mother and father in a prior life. And therefore he had to be beaten up in his last life as a disciple under the Buddha. He was beaten up by robbers after they have waited out 3 months outside his hut. Then he realized that he could not escape it. It was his last life, so this event has to fall out. So he went out there and became beaten up until all his bones were broken. So there can be some probabilities are so strong that they cannot be modified. But most can be modified. And more importantly, we cannot discriminate which can be modified and which cannot be modified. So we should just try to modify all we can. Do as much good as we can to modify the evil we have done. And when this has done, then silencing all karma, silencing all action, silencing all intention, good as bad, as neutral. Okay, so much for the questions. Now we go to what the Buddha have said about karma, cause and effect. Karma and fruit, action and reaction, cause and effect. The blessed Buddha once said, beings are owner of their actions, of their karma, inheritor of their karma. They are created by their actions, their karma. They are linked to their actions. Their actions produce a destiny. Whatever karma they do, good as evil, the resulting reaction and later effect will be theirs only. There is one who kills living beings, who steals what belongs to others, commits adultery with others' partners, speaks false lies, speaks divisively and aggressive speech, prattles empty gossip, who is greedy, envious, jealous, wicked-minded, and of evil views. Such one is creeping in all bodily, verbal, and mental actions. Hidden and secret are such one's actions, words, and thoughts. They are of crooked and concealed motives. But I tell you, whoever pursues such deceptive, evil ways will have to expect one of these two results: either the torture of hell or birth among the creeping animals, like insects, snakes. Thus it is with all rebirths of any living being. They will be reborn exactly according to the ethics of their actions, of their karma. When reborn, then they will experience the mirror effects of their past behavior. It is therefore, I declare, beings are owner, inheritor, debtor of their actions. They are born and created by their actions, coupled to their actions, as a shadow that never leaves. As a shadow that never leaves. Their past actions, their prior karma, produce and condition their future destiny. Whatever action they perform, good as evil, the resultant action and effects will be theirs only. Karma causes and creates a specific rebirth, a shadow that never leaves. It's from the numerical discourses of the Buddha, Anguttara Nikaya 10, number 205. There's two speeches of the Buddha I can recommend on karma. They are both from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length or the moderate speech of the Buddha. There's a great speech on karma, Majjhima Nikaya number 136, and then there's a short speech on karma number 135. I'll give a link below so you can study them for themselves, because he's given two speeches on this specific subject. Here's another one. The Blessed Buddha once explained, I tell you, bhikkhus and friends, that it's absolutely impossible that willed, intended, performed, and accumulated intentional actions, karma, will cease to be effective as long as one has not experienced their results, be it in this life or in the next life or even in a further future life. And it is equally impossible that without having experienced the results of one's accumulated, intended, and performed past actions, then one will be able to put an end to suffering. May this hereby be well known by all beings in samsara. So this means that as long as there's echoes of probabilities, then there's rebirth, there's future states to be experienced. Then there's the process of becoming, bhava, existence basically, the flow of existence. This will continue on until the karma goes to exactly zero. Then there can be enlightenment. Then nibbana can be attained. The ending of karma is nibbana. So, any moment of intentional mental activity creates, shapes, determines, and conditions the future. Any moment of intentional verbal activity creates, shapes, and determines the future. Any moment of bodily activity creates, shapes, determines, influences, and conditions the future. So it's this interlocking cause and effect that we as disciples see and go through, and that all beings go through, whether they know it or not, whether they like it or not, whether they can accept it or not. It is so. It's a field of probability. Buddha emphasized the law of karma, the moral efficacy of any action. He said, karma should be known and understood. The cause by which karma comes into play should be known. The diversity in karma should be known. The result of karma should be known. The ending of karma should be known. The way of practice for the ending of karma should be known. Thus has it been said. In reference to what was it said? And what is karma? Intention, I tell you, is karma. Intending, one performs karma by way of the body, speech, and mind. And what is the cause by which karma comes into play? Contact is the cause. Eye contact, ear contact, nose contact, tongue contact, bodily contact, or mental contact. Having had sense contact, one generates a karmic intention regarding this contact. And what is the diversity in karma? That is karma to be experienced as a future in hell. Karma to be experienced in the realm of the various animals. Karma to be experienced in the realm of the hungry ghosts. Karma to be experienced as a future in the human world. And karma to be experienced in the world of the divine devas. This is called the diversity in karma. By intending something, one plants an egg of future hatching resultants. And what is the result of Kamma? The result of Kamma is of three thoughts, I tell you. That which arises right here and now, or later in this very lifetime, or that which arises in later life. This is called the result of Kamma. And what is the ending of Kamma? The ending of contact thereby also ends the accumulation of Kamma. Ending of all sense contact ends Kamma. And what is the practice for the ending of Kamma? And this is just this noble eightfold path. Right view, right motivation, right speech, right action, right effort, right livelihood, right awareness, and right concentration. That is the way of praxis leading to the end of Kamma. Again, it's a noble way, noble eightfold way, that does the trick in the end. So, when a noble disciple comprehends Kamma in this way, the cause of Kamma, the diversity of Kamma, the result and the end of Kamma, and the practice that leading to the end of Kamma, then he sees fulfillment of the noble life as the end of Kamma. Kamma should be fully understood, the cause by which Kamma come into play. The diversity, the result, the ending of Kamma, and the way of praxis to end all Kamma. Anguttara Nikaya 6, number 63. So, I think what this will do, there is another one. I'll give a link out to say Kamma and Rebirth by Nyanatiloka Maha-Thera. On my website, I give the link below. I think this is enough on Kamma. Enough Kamma. Good Kamma in this case. So it produce good future. But even good future is suffering. So this speech on Kamma should end with the purpose of ending Kamma. The purpose is to end Kamma, to silence all intentional activities by silencing all craving. Craving towards an object, craving away from an object, and craving for neglecting an object. Any given object, even existence itself. In particular, this form, this body, this feeling, this perception, this mental construction, these hopes, longings, plannings, and this consciousness itself. Silencing that ends Kamma. Thank you for your attention. Lastly, I would like to say thank you for all those who gave food for last month. Know that you are keeping 1 forest monk and 3 dogs and 1 cat alive for at least a month. Rejoice in that. Rejoice in that, friends. And everybody is welcome to donate food to this Buddhist hermitage. And it can be done by going to the website whatbuddhasaid.net and click the lowest link. It says online dana, food donation via Kale's supermarket. Just click this link and follow the instructions, and then some gift vouchers will end up with me, and then I can go and buy some whatever food is needed. From cat food to rice to soya beans to whatever is needed at that month. So thank you again to all the food donors and all the other supporters, regular supporters, for last month. Remember to click subscribe down there. And if you want to support these videos and audios, then on the YouTube channel, there's a small site, and also on my website, a small site to a link called Patron, Patreon, and then just search for my name, Samahita, Samahita, and then you could be a supporter of these Buddhist videos and audios, of which this is number 35. Kamma and beyond. Especially beyond. Thank you for your attention. Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. May all beings be happy by this knowing Kamma and the end of Kamma. And have a nice day. Thank you.
You heard Bhikkhu Samahita from the Cypress Hermitage on the Knuckles Mountain, Pamparella, Central Hill Country, Sri Lanka. Please subscribe to the Google group Buddha Direct and visit the website whatbuddhasaid.net. May all beings become thus happy thereby. Thank you. Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.